An RV apocalypse may be brewing. Restaurants close and inflation crushes some Americans. Today, I read an article on ZeroHedge.com written by Tyler Durden, likely a pseudonym for writers at Zero Hedge, titled RV Downturn Turns Apocalyptic with Largest Dealership Offering 55% Discounts. According to the author, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has been a serial bubble blower only to later deflate bubbles through interest rate hikes and restrictive monetary policies. The author went on to discuss the RV industry's boom and bust in the current multi-year downturn. The boom started when interest rates were lowered in 2020, which resulted in people traveling and staying connected for remote work with Starlink space internet. Then, when rate hikes happened, the boom turned into a bust. Here are my thoughts. In a way, this RV boom and bust cycle reminds me of what happened back in 2008. I knew people who had bought RVs during the run-up to 2008. Some had fun with them. They had plans to travel North America. Many of those plans never came to fruition because the great financial crisis occurred. People found themselves unemployed. Business owners saw their lines of credit dry up. Countless people were unable to service their debt, including RV payments. I remember watching something on the news back then about repossessed RVs being stored out in the desert because there were so many of them. Cities where these RVs were manufactured were heavily impacted. Their local economies crumbled. I have to wonder if we could ever see a repeat of what happened during those dark years. Getting back to the article, the author referenced Lazy Days CEO John North. Apparently, his company has RVs listed on their website with discounts up to 55%. The author also referenced seasonal data from the RV Industry Association, which shows shipments are below a 16-year average for this time of year. Well, my friends, this sounds like grim news to me. Only time will tell if this gets worse. I think it's certainly possible, though. I personally have seen several RVs for sale by owner recently. I know a guy who has been trying to sell his for many months because he can't afford the payment anymore. He owes more than it is worth, which is one of the problems. He's asking far too much money for it. In a market where you can get a heavily discounted new RV with a warranty, why would you want to overpay for a used model? I have no clue what's going to happen with this guy. Do you know anyone who's upside down in their RV? If so, tell me about it in the comment section below. Here's some more bad news. I read this on foxbusiness.com, written by Breck Dumas, titled, Red Lobster Closing 23 More Restaurants Across U.S. Amid Bankruptcy. According to the author, the seafood chain announced in a recent filing it plans to cancel the leases and abandon ship at nearly 24 properties by the end of this week, after determining that keeping them open would continue to drive losses for the company. Here are my thoughts. We could potentially see more pain in the restaurant industry moving forward. There is a lot of bad news out there. Even fast food operators have been struggling to attract customers. They are engaged in price wars to compete for customers. Many Americans are struggling in this higher interest rate environment. Many haven't seen their wages keep pace with inflation. People simply don't have the discretionary income to afford to dine out as much as they once did. This is not a good situation, since many restaurant operators have seen their cost of doing business increase. Less money coming in and more money going out is never a good thing. This next article may resonate with some of you. I read this on Yahoo Finance, put out by MoneyWise, and written by Jing Pan, titled, Did y'all get a raise? Dr. Phil says you need $11,434 more a year now than in 2021. Here's the White House data. The author referenced Dr. Phil as sharing some alarming statistics. Those are words of the author, not me. He said electricity has increased by 25%, auto insurance by 33%, used cars by 35%, hotels by 15%, and groceries by 25%. He said you need $11,434 additional dollars just to maintain the same standard of living that you had in 2021. Well, my friends, this all ties in with the other stories that I discussed today. Most Americans haven't seen their incomes increase by $11,434. This is why many are unable to afford to buy an RV. This is why some people who own one are struggling to keep it up. Insurance, maintenance, fuel, and tires for one of these is not cheap. This is also why some Americans no longer have the money to dine out. It's not a good situation at all. There were approximately 2,300 comments beneath this article. I'll share some of them with you. One commenter said, "We are being crushed." This is accurately described. Salary did not go up and layoffs are starting. Tax the rich will backfire, just like the minimum wage salary law started inflation. The next commenter said, "Our economy is in terrible shape, and many will not make it if something isn't done. It is easy for the rich, but very hard for the poor. Please pray for good leadership versus what we have now." The last comment that I'll share with you came from someone who said, "If you think providing yourself with the basics of life, such as food, shelter, clothes, is hard now, try doing it without any income, like in a depression." Well, my friends, the commenters always have interesting things to say. It's not just everyday Americans who are struggling financially, though. I read an article on Yahoo Finance put out by MoneyWise, written by Bethan Morecraft, titled, "Kevin Spacey is allegedly refusing to leave his $5.6 million Baltimore home after it was foreclosed on." The author referenced an interview with Kevin Spacey on the Piers Morgan talk show. He said, "I can't pay the bills that I owe." The author said Kevin Spacey owes millions of dollars in legal bills after allegations of sexual misconduct were filed against him in 2017. Well, my friends, life certainly has a lot of twists and turns. I know a lot of people who went from riches to rags. It's not easy. I've seen it so many times with people I know personally. Imagine having a life where you have people who do everything for you. You can afford anything that you want. Then business sours and you lose the mansion, the staff, the plane, the cars, and the power and respect. It is a hard fall. One of my friends lost just about everything, but he was able to crawl back. Some never do. It's a tough world out there. You never know what the future holds. One of my favorite quotes from a movie is in Blow. George's father is a contractor and he loses everything. His son is really upset about this. He tells his son George, "Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, you never think you'll be up again. But life goes on." That's just a movie, but I have always liked that scene. If our economy takes a turn for the worse, at some point, some Americans will go bust. I really hope they will be okay. I hope they will be able to get back on their feet. I want the best for everyone. I hope none of you ever go bust. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.